Welcome to Fright Night.
What do we get from the light of the sun?
A nasty burn, now isn't that fun?
Swim in the ocean, run on the beach,
Drown in the surf and blood like a leech.
we have no time for merrymaking. Chop off the head for badness sake, sell for a limb, batter and bake. Nasty spells of bubonic night, come close and see what's hidden from sight. Something festering in my bed bugs dancing on my
Hey everybody, welcome to Get Busy Watching. I'm your host Honest Dan, and welcome back to my Halloween special. Let's not waste any more time and just kick things off. Welcome to week 2. This mask does not want to stay on.
festering in my bed bugs dancing on my head. Ever offends and makes you scream. I want to die on Halloween. Halloween, Halloween, I want to die on Halloween.
Under the bridge of goblin waits, she never sleeps or hesitates.
Tell me a story full of betrayal, a headless horseman covered with snails.
This Australian Spookums follows this teenage girl who plays a game with a cursed severed hand that allows visions of the dead. Soon she becomes plagued by evil spirits that mess with her mind and hurt those that she cares for.
Now say, talk to me.
Talk to me.
Oh yeah, the hype is real. Mostly. It subverts a lot of horror tropes and does so much that I personally appreciate. I can't begin to tell you how much I appreciate that there is almost no reliance on cheap jump scares. It builds tension, doesn't insult the audience's intelligence, and allows said tension to build on its own. I wish more horror films had this good sense. I also appreciate that these ghosts serve a purpose. Due to the psychological nature of the movie, the monsters are thematic. They're the manifestation of main character Mia's deepest, darkest thoughts. It's a twisted watch and definitely makes you squirm. The acting is fantastic from everyone. Sophia Wilde as Mia is terrific. Joe Riley as the younger brother definitely shines when he gets possessed. And dear Lord, I am still in love with Miranda Otto. The only thing that I might say that gets on my nerves is how Mia's intelligence seems to dip the further along the story goes, as she seems to understand how these spirits are playing with her mind, but doesn't ever seem to not trust a situation happening to her. It bugged me a little bit, but the ending more than made up for it. Horror fans should definitely not miss out. It'll get under your skin, but it's a very satisfying flick. If you think that the media is hyping it up too much, I promise you, it's there for a reason. I agree with it. So I recommend it. My honest rating for Talk to Me, a strong 4 out of 5.
They're hurting him, Jane. They're not gonna stop. They're never gonna stop.
I know a witch who's big as a whale, covered with boils, wrinkled and pale.
This Australian psychological horror flick is about this woman and her daughter. Her daughter seems to think that she's her mother's long-lost sister that disappeared when they were kids.
Isn't it a bit hard to miss somebody if you've never met them?
I miss people I've never met all the time.
Oh man. I saw this not long after seeing Talk to Me, and I genuinely can't tell which one I like more. The film is a slow burn, make no mistake about that. It is surprisingly unsettling as you watch this little girl doing creepy things, like silently stalking in the shadows. Wonderful cinematography, by the way. How she misses her dementia-stricken grandmother, even though the two have never met. The effect that she has on her grandmother, downright kicking her dementia and becoming completely coherent, and the grandmother identifying the girl as the long-lost sister. There's no shortage of mystery and discomfort at what exactly is going on. As the story progresses, every answer leads to more questions, and the thicker the plot gets, as the mom loses control of her emotions, and even starts to hallucinate, which causes a whole mess of other problems, leading to one hell of a twist, if not a fairly pretentious final few seconds. The acting is fantastic from stars Sarah Snook and young Lily Latore, who bounce off of each other very well. And there's not a lot of cheap jump scares, opting for the more desired tension building, which helped a lot in keeping me gripped. I imagine this is going to be overshadowed by the media-heavy Talk to Me, which I think is a shame because I think it's just as good. If you're subscribed to Netflix, I recommend this, provided that you don't mind a slow but rewarding burn. My honest rating for Run Rabbit Run, a strong 4 out of 5.
Mia, stop it.
I came back. I'm Alice.
Just stop it, Mia. It is not
I'm Alice!
I know a sight that will make you scream, I want to die on Halloween!
Sailors are traveling from Romania to London. Unbeknownst to them, they're carrying a pair of crates. One of them holds the body of Dracula, who awakens and starts killing the crew.
This is more than I paid to bring the damn cargo here. What did he spit at the end? Good leave or good riddance?
Good luck.
$20 says that if this thing does well, it's going to be connected to the Dark Universe. Aw, aren't I being nice? This movie doing well. Man, I must be in a good mood because this thing is mid. I won't say that it doesn't have its positives. The setup is pretty sweet. Isolation, ship in the middle of the ocean, no nearby harbor to run to, the Demeter isn't that big, Dracula is smart enough to kill the livestock early on so the crew has limited food. I don't think it can be denied that it has promise early on. I would even argue that everything that can be done with this premise was utilized to its fullest. Dracula himself is done a solid justice by being portrayed as a cold-blooded monster. Certain characters you think won't die absolutely die, so it's nice that this isn't afraid to go there. The acting is good. Even the American actors pulling off English accents were convincing, at least to my ears. But I can't deny that the movie runs through the vampire motions. Figuring out Dracula's weakness, what he wants, where he sleeps, and so on and so forth. It's just a routine vampire horror flick at its core. What really gets me is how much the ball is dropped toward the final act when, light spoilers, the survivors discover where Dracula sleeps, but do absolutely nothing about it, and it means absolutely nothing to the plot. Also, I didn't really care for Dracula's design. Just a big old man-bat that even Batman wouldn't take seriously. And what's the point of having Dracula if you're not gonna give him a pretentious personality? And Javier Batet was Dracula? These filmmakers should be ashamed for not utilizing him better. It's whatever. Personally, if it wasn't for Batet, David Dastmalchian, and Woody Newman of Come On, Come On fame, this would have been ruthlessly bland. Also, the female actress is, like really, really pretty. Don't judge me, okay? I have a weakness for Irish girls. In any case, better Dracula films exist. You're not missing out if you choose to skip it, and I certainly don't recommend it. My honest rating for The Last Voyage of the Demeter, a 3 out of 5.
Aliens. No. There is no way to leave this room. Put on a hat and strap on a broom.
Based on true events set in 1987, famed exorcist Father Gabriel Amorth is called to Spain to see about a young boy being possessed by an unnaturally powerful demon.
Sia santificato il tuo nome. Venga il tuo regno.
Your prayers are worthless here.
It's not the best horror movie on the market, but it does one thing that I wish more horror movies like this would do. Have an action edge to it, but not squander the potential. Similar to last year's Pray for the Devil that seemed to tease you with an action vibe, this does something similar to have an exorcist that openly mocks the demon possessing someone and dealing with it like it's child's play. Literally, the opening scene is Russell Crowe goading a demon to possess a pig and having another dude kill the pig to not only save the possessed person, but kill the demon. He defies his superiors when they call him out for doing the exorcism without their approval. He's honestly a pretty refreshing protagonist. But all of that goes out the window when the rest of the flick moves forward. When the demon becomes more than what it seems to be, Gabriel becomes like every other protagonist in these movies. He falls for deceptive imagery, even though he knows better than to fall for them. He's scared, clueless, and far too often doesn't practice what he preaches. The family is nothing special other than a remarkably unlikable teen daughter. The only thing that sort of saves it is the demonic antagonist. Child actor Peter D'Souza Fayoni perfectly blends hammy and threatening, and the writing really giving this thing a personality. In a better movie, this rivalry between it and Gabriel would be downright iconic, but at its core, it's just a garden variety possession movie. A sequel has been announced, and if it decides to go in a more action-oriented route, I'm not gonna lie, I think I might like it better. I'm not expecting The Exorcist meets John Wick, although, to be fair, I kind of want to see that movie now. As for this one, it's not very good. I can see why it didn't do well commercially or critically. I don't necessarily recommend it unless Russell Crowe with a very bad Italian accent amuses you. My honest rating for The Pope's Exorcist, a 3 out of 5.
And I'll destroy you. Your holy church will crumble from the inside.
Valak the Demon Nun is back, and this time has infiltrated a boarding school while possessing Maurice from the last film, searching for an artifact that will give it unspeakable power.
I don't know what you faced back there, but in that abbey, sister, you performed a miracle. The church needs another.
It ain't good. Once again, the mainline Conjuring films are the only good installments in the Conjuring universe. And for that matter, why are we still worried about interconnected universes, y'all? The MCU is dying. Cut the cord, will ya? I can appreciate that Valak is a modern horror icon. Say what you want about the films themselves, The Defiler has made a cultural impact in the horror community, and people love it. I'm not on board with that love. Or rather, I fell out of love after The Conjuring 2. These movies are as cliched as they come. The monster roams around, freaking people out, killing them, even though it has a goal in mind. So, why bother with anyone else? What really annoyed me was how they brought back Taissa Farmiga and did next to nothing with her. One would think there would be a permanent rivalry between them since she's instrumental in Valak's defeat in the previous flick. But nope. They interact once, at some point, in the middle, and at the end. That's it. The new characters are boring, the scares are subpar, and is an all-around forgettable experience. Sadly, the movie is making a killing at the box office, so we're inevitably gonna see a sequel, which really frustrates me. There is such wonderful potential in this monster, but no writer has ever really done it justice. It just makes me want to watch The Conjuring 2 again. Long and short, I don't recommend it. My honest rating for The Nun 2, a 2 out of 5.
Something festering in my bed bugs dancing on my head.
Hercule Poirot is back. Tina Fey, an old friend of his, has roped him into joining her to possibly debunk the validity of a self-proclaimed medium hired to communicate with a woman's dead daughter. But then the medium is killed, and Hercule must learn if the killer is a person or a ghost.
All my life, uncharmed by your kind.
My kind?
Opportunists who prey on the vulnerable, huh?
This is easily the most accessible installment in all of these movies. Is it the best one? That might be a little hard to say, but I do like it. I credit the ease of access to be a result of the way smaller cast. The main disadvantage of the previous flicks, despite the star-studded cast, is that there's too many characters to remember, and therefore unable to remember their motivations. But here, there's only a handful, and it's much easier to point out to someone and know what they're all about. Even after so much time away from the film, I can still remember how deep the rabbit hole went with every character, when I definitely couldn't do that in the previous films, or at least most of them. And I gotta hand it to Kenneth Branagh, the horror elements are actually pretty effective. Okay, I won't act like this is some sort of relentless spook fest with jump scares galore. This is first and foremost a whodunit mystery thriller with a spooky edge, set in Halloween of course, so the creeps and shrieks are far in between. But when they crop up, they're chilly. I do confess a few things that I couldn't get behind. I feel like certain characters weren't all that necessary, and when some motivations bubble to the surface, it doesn't feel all that impactful. You can never really go wrong with Brana, so I do recommend it, despite some of its more glaring flaws. My honest rating for A Haunting in Venice, a 4 out of 5.
Don't you dare look at me like a murder suspect. We're old friends.
Every murderer is somebody's old friend.
Whatever offends makes you scream. I want to die on Halloween.
Based on true events set in 1990s Spain, 3 middle-aged women, part of a paranormal investigation group, get a new assignment after their leader is attacked by a malevolent spirit and do their best to rid it from an antique shop.
No entiendo por qué se saltó el protocolo. La investigación se tiene que hacer en equipo. Bueno, él dijo que tenía un pálpito y estaba preocupado. Y le entraron las prisas, ya lo conocéis.
I liked it. Enough. Okay, it's really not that good. But with better writing and better scares, this is kind of everything that I've wanted out of a horror film. What I like is that these are middle-aged characters that are so seasoned in their paranormal investigations that they almost don't take it that seriously anymore. It's no longer an issue of life or death for them, but just part of the job. They do get scared and get tense when things start happening, and when the drama calls for them to be real, they are, but they aren't afraid to make light of their predicaments as a coping means. I enjoy the relationships between the women, with Belen Rueda and Tony Acosta stealing the show with their constant bickering. I love horror films that can pause and just have human moments that feel real. With all that said, there are problems. It's not an especially scary film. When the tension kicks in, it's pretty standard horror fare. Worst of all, I'm not entirely sure what the objective is for the main monster. Even in technically worse movies, there's always something that the monster is after, even if it's as simple as possessing someone to wreak havoc. But by the end, that doesn't seem to be the case at all. So its actions of terrorizing this antique shop and the people living in it, in congruence with its spoiler-heavy goals, aren't all that aligned, making me wonder what the hell this demon is doing in the shop at all. The novelty of seeing Belen Rueda in this of Orphanage fame is more than enough to keep me hooked, especially since she gives me some serious Jane Fonda vibes. The acting as a whole really does keep everything together, but the negative reviews are not unwarranted. I will say that it doesn't bother me that much, but entertainment value will vary. My honest rating for Phenomena, a strong 3 out of 5.
A cenar ya no llego.
This mask. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, you guys. I really appreciate it. Have a great day, stay safe and healthy out there, and hope to see you next week for week 3 of Halloween month.
Something rancid in the bowl, and we'll take your restless soul. Something